All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Beantown Boys podcast. You know, we don't really have a whole lot to talk about this week because, you know, nothing really happened. But we're gonna go through our predictions for the play-in round, and that probably means we're gonna talk about the Leafs for like an hour because I'm here.
Who cares?
Excuse me. I care about everybody's opinion here other than yours.
Oh. There it is. But the first thing I'm gonna talk about a little bit here is so I started doing this course on sportsmanagementworldwide.com. So they have a bunch of classes about like just anything you would could imagine in the sports industry. You know, they have every sport available. They have a lot of different stuff. I'm probably going to take their analytics course at some point, but that's kind of in the future. So the course I'm taking is Hockey GM and Scouting. And I started that yesterday. And it's taught by Harry Sinden, who used to GM the Leafs back in the day.
Gross.
And what did I say?
Leafs.
Why did I say? You know what, man? I got hockey on the brain. All right. I was thinking about Nick Robertson. All right. So yeah, I'm going to say Bruins. And then we have Mike Oak, who is the GM for the Peterborough Petes. And they are a junior team, Dylon, in Canada. And, so, I mean, yesterday was more of just like introductions and just a short discussion on, the stuff we had to read. But, something I found kind of like amazing. One of the kids that is, taking the class is a high schooler from the Cayman Islands. Not kidding. He's from the Cayman Islands. And he apparently likes hockey. And his mom found the course for him. And, which, you know, hey, that's cool. And the fact that we can grow hockey in a part of the world where I would be surprised if they had a hockey rink at all. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, they're in the Caribbean, right? The Cayman Islands, but like where are they? Let's find out. Cayman Islands. Let's go Google. There. And it's funny because like, I mean, I've never been there, but, it was kind of interesting because he didn't have like an accent or anything. He just like, he sounded like he was from like a Midwestern city, to be honest. That's kind of funny. Okay. So they're off of Cuba. They're like south of Cuba and west of Jamaica. So I don't know if they have a rink there. I'd be surprised if they did.
Dude, that's so funny. Anytime I hear Cuba, I just think of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the sea shanty. One of them is just about sailing to Cuba.
I mean, the only thing I can think about of Cuba is Joey Diaz, the comedian. Love that guy. Anyways, so someone else that's on there, she's from Nashville, and she came up and went to school at UConn, and then she went back to Nashville, and she's worked for the Predators already. Oh. So, I mean, you know, she's in like her probably like early mid-20s, and she has like, you know, accomplished quite a bit.
Let's go Preds.
You know, already working for an NHL franchise. So I don't know what she did there, but she works there.
Got her some.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, she just has the right to say, yeah, I work for the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, and I feel like the Predators are one of those teams where like they're probably going to try really hard to kind of have homegrown talent, because that's how you grow the sport, is you have homegrown guys. Kind of wish Arizona would do that more, but what are you going to do? They could trade for Matthews, and then there you go, homegrown talent.
It doesn't help when the only homegrown talent they have just happens to be a generational superstar.
Well, not even like players, just like people that want to work in the game. You know what I mean? I'd imagine it's tough when like you're from Arizona. It's like, all right, well, all these guys that work for the team are all from Canada or like Eastern United States. You know what I mean? Like, why do I care about this team? I don't know. It'll be interesting just to, you know, try to learn as much as I can and, you know, build connections, and, you know, maybe I can get a paying scouting job out of this, you know, through the connections that I build. You never know. But one of the things that we were reading this week, it's, what is it called? Net Worth. I can't remember who wrote it, but, it talked a lot about, in the first 4 chapters at least, about the early days of the NHL and how they kept trying to form the PA, and like players were terrified to just try to fight the NHL on this, because I guess what happened was like the owners would keep telling the players, look, we're not making a lot of money off of you guys. Like we don't make a lot of money. And that was a complete lie. Like they're making very good money, or at least, breaking even on revenue stuff. And then when TV came around, then they started making good money.
And on top of it, when playoffs come around, the players don't get a salary anyways. It's all profit.
And the All-Star game back then was actually quite a big deal because, there's only 6 teams. And the players didn't get a cut of that, so they were playing for free. And then they played the playoffs for free. And then I didn't know there was a pension fund. I don't know if it still exists now, but back then there was a pension fund. And they had a massive surplus in the pension fund. And ownership wasn't telling the players that there was a massive surplus, because what would normally happen, I guess, is if you had a surplus, then you evenly distribute that surplus among the people that have the pension. But what was actually happening was the owners were distributing that among themselves. So it was, multi-millions of surplus, and the players didn't see a dime of that, which is crazy.
Which is why we have the PA now.
Right, because like back then,
it's with everything, though. I mean, back then, because of the low regulations and just there was like no checks and balances on anything, people got away with so much.
Oh, dude. I'm probably going to give you the once I'm done reading the book for the class, I'm probably going to give it to you because you'd really like it. But so, I mean, this, so the Norris Award, Dylan, that's for the best defenseman.
Yeah.
So that's named. I don't know if it's named after James Norris Sr. or Jr., but one of the two. And Sr. was this like super smart businessman that just like created this insane amount of wealth for his family, and then he ended up owning, actually owning. I believe it was Detroit or Chicago, one of the two. But he basically, there was a system in place where the same owner couldn't own multiple teams. But if a corporation bought a team, the corporation didn't have to tell the NHL who was behind the corporation. So he would set up fronts for him to buy more teams. So he owned Chicago, Detroit, and basically owned the Rangers because he owned the arena.
That and as obviously as smart as that is, I mean, I credit him with that. It's technically a monopoly, and you can't.
Well, yeah, because he didn't put any effort into making the Rangers good, or I mean, I can't remember if it was Chicago.
I mean, what's the point when you don't have competition?
I think it was Chicago was the one that he liked, but I can't remember. So either Chicago or Detroit was that's where he put all the good players, and then the other two were just there. But then his son, the James Norris Jr., he was involved with the mob since a young age. And he liked doing a bunch of horse racing and boxing stuff, as, mob people did back then.
I don't get... That's the only people that like horse races are people that are with the mafia.
Well, it's how they clean their money. And they also just like betting. They just like gambling. It's one of their favorite things to do. So, yeah, he was involved with the mafia, and while the Players Association was trying to get formed, he was battling charges of racketeering.
Oh my god.
So the PA was trying to be formed, and he just he was fighting it, but he wasn't fighting it that hard. He's like, I don't need to worry about this right now, so.
I have something a little bit more important.
Yeah, and actually, Montreal's ownership was 100% for the PA. They were just yeah, go ahead. And then, Toronto, their ownership severely fought the PA because...
Of course they did.
Yeah. They kept telling the players, we take care of you guys. This is a team. We got to stick together. And they also just didn't want their players going out and talking to the other players on how much money they made, because Toronto by far was
the stingiest.
They paid their players nothing. I mean, the average salary at the time for the NHL was $4,000 a season. And keep in mind though, in the contract, it was $4,000 a year, but $900 of that came off the top for the pension, and then you couldn't work for any other any other sport organization unless the team gave you written permission, and then it would never do that. So and it was a 6-month long season, so you have a 6-month off season. So 6 months they couldn't use their best asset, which is their athletic ability. It's crazy.
That's nuts. With inflation, I mean, I'm pretty sure $4,000 was a decent amount of money back then, but
that was honestly on par with what the sports writers were making at the time. So they're the athlete and they're not making any more money than the sports writer.
That blows my mind. And nowadays, I think it's a lot better. I honestly think it's gotten worse for some other sports, and hockey's improved upon that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was funny because one of hockey's advertisements at the time was the fact that they treated their players the best. And when the PA was trying to be formed, it was the work was mainly done by Ted Lindsay, and he went to a New York lawyer, and when he told this lawyer who formed the MLB's PA, he looked at what was happening. He's like, "No, this is astonishingly bad. This is crazy. How do you guys live like this?" It was nuts.
I just find it's purely insane to me how they got paid so little. They were claimed to be treated the best, but they played with little to no protection at all. They beat the ever-living fuck out of each other.
Yep.
And, I mean, injuries had to have just been so common because of the lack of protection.
Yeah, let me point on that. In their contracts, every team had the same clause. If an injury lasted more than 8 weeks, the team wouldn't cover the cost anymore.
But you're barely getting paid, so how are you supposed to pay for that?
Tough shit, figure it out.
That's fucking crazy to me. That's nuts.
Yeah, and then, what was I going to get to? I couldn't remember. Okay. So, one of the reasons I feel like why the pay was so bad was because, Gordie Howe, who I have a ton of respect for his playing abilities, the way he negotiated, quote-unquote, his contract was the owner for Detroit would give him a completely filled-out contract, and the only thing blank was his pay. And he would just say, write down whatever you're worth, Gordie. And Gordie would just put a $1,000 raise every year. Best hockey player in the world, and he was at the time where this was happening, he was getting paid half of what the highest paid player in the league was getting paid. And he's the best player by far. He's Gordie Howe. And he was just no, I'm just going to put $10,000 for the year, and then next year it's going to be 11, even though I'm worth $150.
That's crazy to me that's going on with him. He's just giving himself $1,000 raise. You really would think that he would give himself more because he had a wicked bad gambling problem.
Did he?
Yeah, he was terrible with his money. That's why he played so long. Is because he didn't have money. He needed more money. So what do? You just keep doing what you've always been doing, and that's playing hockey.
That's funny. I didn't read anything about that in the chapters that we were supposed to read.
I have his biography if you want to read it.
I think I do too.
I just hasn't gone to it yet.
I have so many books that I have to read. But obviously, the stuff for my classes right now in the forefront. Yeah, it was so nuts. And then something that I don't know how true was, but they wrote about it in these chapters was apparently hockey was more popular than football at the time.
It actually was.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like reading about that, and it was like, okay, how did we go from being more important than football to where we are now? Like, how did that happen?
Well, so football completely changed the aspect of the game.
Mhm.
Football back then, for the most part, was literally you hand the ball off and run, and you just protect the person running. I'm not even kidding. No
That's my
passing.
style.
No passing at all. It was literally just running backs. You were all running backs, linemen, or a quarterback.
Yep.
So
The
it was
quarterback's job was just to hand it off
Here's the ball go.
and then protect the running back.
so it was still transitioning from rugby.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
It's actually quite funny. If you watch the old footage, it's just a bunch of guys huddled around each other, and you're just pushing. It's just a bunch of pushing.
I mean, watching. I don't know how rugby is so as popular as it is. Because, I mean, I'm sure it's probably cool to watch, but it's just like it's just so.
It's interesting to watch. It really is. I've seen one college game. It's
Yeah, like we have it over here, but it's not big.
no.
Probably because it's just there's no air game, and that's why football is where it is.
Mhm.
But football completely revamped its style, so there's a lot more to it, and I can see why it's grown. But if you want to talk about weird games, it's some Irish game. I don't even know what it's called, but they have a giant cricket bat type of thing.
You're really far from your mic, by the way.
They have this giant cricket bat, and they have a wicked hard ball. And what the whole point is, you have to either kick it while it's on the ground, or find a way to get it up in the air and hit it. So you have to juggle it on this paddle and try to hit it past a goalie. Meanwhile, there's 0 pads, and you can lay body checks. You can hit people with the paddle. There's no rules.
How's that not an
The
American
whole
sport?
sport is just throw it up and hit it into behind the goalie, or you can kick it.
You said it's Irish, right? All right. They have to be a little bit intoxicated to
Humans
play
are
that.
humans are lunatics. I tell you.
It's just wow.
And this was aired I saw this 3 or 4 years ago. It was aired on NBC or something. It was a wicked big game for whatever this sport is called. I just call it fucking crazy. But
Yeah, facts.
it was aired, and I was like, okay, this is something I can back. This is something I can watch.
That's crazy, man. No, I mean, just learning about the history of how the game is formed to where it is today is nuts.
Yeah, it's just the reason football did grow as well is NHL hasn't really evolved much. It's
Well,
been
the-
the same concept.
The
It
game
cycles
is
through types of eras, though.
the game has honestly the game has evolved quite a lot, and you have to know hockey to know that it has. Because if you don't in depth know the ins and outs of hockey, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
It really is hard to notice.
Defensemen back when actually couldn't pass the red line, so they weren't allowed to enter the offensive zone.
Well, first up, there used to be an extra position.
The hell was the extra position?
There was a rover. That
Oh,
was
so we took fucking Rover from hockey and put it in football.
there
Okay.
was a sixth player on the ice that was both defenseman and forward. Yeah, and they called it the rover. Now, when I believe it was the NHA, which was the predecessor to the NHL, they were the first league to get rid of the rover. Because hockey's been around for quite some time. They were
Yeah.
playing it in the 1800s.
There's a lot of different.
That's when the rover
yeah.
was around.
Shinny and stuff like that. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of different names for it.
So they got rid of the rover. There used to be the rule, as kids said. Then there used to be the rule where you couldn't make a forward pass. So it was.
Imagine playing hockey
How the
nowadays,
hell did
but
that
not being able
work?
to make a forward
How
pass.
the-
Well, yeah. I mean, the game was based so much more on possession than it is now. I mean, you can make a forward pass when you were in the offensive zone, but anything else.
But anything
Oh,
in defense.
And there was a penalty called there was a 2-line pass rule. So you couldn't pass from behind your blue line to the other blue line. You had to
Yep.
pass in between all of that. You couldn't. The defenseman could not make that pass. Or it's a
And
penalty.
when they were transitioning from the rule for a defenseman, that kid was saying, when they were trying to make more offense, make the game more exciting, they had to create a penalty where if the puck was not in your zone anymore, you could not have both your defensemen in your own zone.
Why do they think this is a smart?
Well, I mean, that's the best way to learn is to make mistakes. So they make these dumb rules and mistakes. They go, okay, that
so
didn't
much
work.
more complicated than what it is now.
They go, that didn't work, but maybe this will work. So it's the only way you can really learn upon something.
And for I'd have to go back to my on our course packet thing. In our first chapter, it goes through all the rule changes over the years, and it took them like 20 years, something like that, to create offsides. Like they just didn't have it.
Dude, I just know because when we played floor hockey in gym, there was no offsides. Imagine how crazy that is at a professional level if there was no offsides. So you just have your best forward chill right by the goalie. So
right.
He's just sitting by the other goalie like, oh yeah, how's it going, man? They're just shooting the shit. All of a sudden, oh wait, 1 second. Puck starts coming down. He grabs it. He has all the time in the world to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, there was no icing back then too, right?
Nope, there wasn't icing for
a
while.
Icing wasn't until I think late 18.
I mean, the game was also slower back then too.
It took them a while to if you go through all the rule changes, it's evolved quite a bit.
The icing now. This was. I mean, I think even in the 80s, I think they changed the rule towards the late 80s or early 90s. To win an icing, you actually had to go get the puck. So people would literally full steam ahead ram into the other person that was.
Well, no, I know that they changed that rule recently.
They'd get a concussion or something, and you'd break that guy's face just to
now
get the puck.
Now it's
hybrid icing, so you just got to get to it before anybody else. You don't have to touch it; you just have to get there.
I thought you have to be. It depends. I thought if a player's past the red dot,
it's basically the first.
Yeah, I mean, there's a specific rule, but if there's no, if they ice the puck, but nobody from the team that iced it goes to chase it, and the defenseman's just kind of like lollygagging back because there's nobody coming, the ref will blow the whistle super early because it's like, all right, nobody's coming.
That or if the defenseman has the opportunity to make a play on the puck before it's iced and chooses not to, they won't call the icing sometimes. They'll go, well, you actually had a chance to make sure that wasn't an icing.
Yeah, and I also think
they'll make them play it.
I think they used to have a rule as well where if the goalie had a chance to make a play and didn't, they wouldn't call it icing. But then now with, the trapezoid behind the net and everything like that.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit harder. So
yeah, I mean, they created the trapezoid because of Marty Brodeur. Only reason. They created that rule after Marty Brodeur started doing Marty Brodeur things, and they're like, all right, gotta get. Even though this is super fun and it actually kind of makes sense, like if you're on the power play and the defending team dumps it out of their zone and it's shown in the corner, if the goalie is has a chance to make a play because nobody's coming and his defensemen are going for a change or something, why shouldn't he be able to skate to the corner, pick up the puck, and shoot it down to his forward? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I think it's supposed to be safety because they don't want goalies getting rammed. Well, it's like, all right, but if you don't want to take that risk, you don't have to play the puck. No one's telling you have to.
Don't play the net. And it's like when Ryan Miller got absolutely demolished by Milan Lucic.
Yep. Yeah, he left the crease.
You're going to get hit. If you're going to make a play on the puck there, you're going to get hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way the rule book is set up. And then I find it like, if I was playing, I'd be a goalie. I'm probably going to be a little upset, but yeah, it was my call to leave.
There's also zero rule against you dropping the gloves as a goalie with a forward. I've seen it happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, I wouldn't fight because then I'd take off my mask, and if I get hit in the eye, I'm probably not going to play the game because I can't see that great.
Hey, man, just Marco Belchior that thing. Mask on. Bonsai, you motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, I don't know how much longer that section of the book talks about the old days, but, I mean, it's super interesting to learn about that stuff. And Jack Adams, the Jack Adams Award is for Coach of the Year, and now the award is basically awarded to whichever team was surprisingly good. But the Jack Adams Award is for Coach of the Year. And reading about Jack Adams, horrible coach. The worst human to live around. Imaginable. Terrible. this past season with Mike Babcock and, all the tough things he's done to a player that he's had over the course of the years of his career, nothing compared to what Jack Adams did. So the team he coached for was Detroit, okay? And Detroit players who were fringe players used to have to buy 2 houses because he would send you down for very, minor things. Like, it's a tie game, 2 minutes left in the third, and somebody passed you the puck.
If they pull
and
Dylon.
You miss, not even that, because Dylon, his thing is he shoots it into the chest of the goalie. If the player just misses the puck and he doesn't get the pass, he gets sent down. Very minor mistake. That's a hockey mistake. That's how the sport works. But he would get sent down for that. Very minor things, and God forbid you just didn't see eye to eye with him. You get sent down once a week. I mean, and when you get sent down, your pay gets cut in half, or sometimes all the way down to a third of what your original salary is. So, and sometimes if he just didn't like you, he'd send you down, but then he'd call you up again once he realized that, he made a mistake. But if you didn't make a mistake, then, oops, guess you're done.
Yeah, back then, was there the rule where you can get picked up if you get a same play gets dropped down?
Waivers? No.
No, they did have waivers.
Did they?
But you had to put them on waivers. You could just send somebody down. But if you wanted them gone, and for some reason you just didn't want to make a trade, like let's say his salary's too high or something, you can put him on waivers. But you don't get put on waivers back then by just getting sent down.
So no Dylon moves.
No Dylon moves.
And, there was no free agency. So, the only way you actually could leave your team was to get moved via waiver claim or trade.
Well, you could also, if you wanted a player from a team, you could just buy him. Like if I wanted Gordie Howe and I'm the Leafs, let's say his contract at the time is like $18,000. All right, Trey, I'll give you 25, a little bit extra because you don't have him anymore, and now I have Gordie Howe. And that was the thing for a very long time where you could just give somebody money for a player. I mean, the Wayne Gretzky trade to LA, LA sent money back to Edmonton for part of the trade.
Well, that's how baseball.
Me and my dad actually looked at that trade. Now, obviously, for the greatest player to ever play the game, they got fleeced. You're never gonna get that in return. But they got a decent player.
I mean, granted, it was kind of even because Gretzky didn't win after he was off of Edmonton.
He still put up Gretzky assist numbers. His goals went down a lot.
Yeah, he wasn't on the absolutely stacked team that was the Edmonton era.
That's my argument for why he's, numbers-wise, he is the greatest, and I'll always agree that he's the greatest mind and the greatest playmaker to ever play hockey. Like, the greatest player, I honestly think if Mario Lemieux...
I was just going to say, I feel like Mario's better.
If Mario Lemieux didn't get hurt as much as he did, if he just didn't have those ailments...
I was having that argument with one of my friends before, and we did the stats. The amount of points per game he put up, he still wouldn't be catching up to Gretzky if he played most of those games.
My dad's done the numbers. If they played the same amount of games for as long as each other, Mario Lemieux would have actually been, just behind him.
And he also did what he did with less. I mean, I don't know how long he played without Yager, but I'd like to know how long.
For a good amount of time, he was the only player on that team.
Oh, yeah.
Then they got Yager, they brought in Paul Coffey.
Didn't he play a season with Sid the Kid, too?
He retired. He came out of retirement just to play with them for a year, and he didn't even get to play a full year.
All right, so he was drafted in '84, Lemieux. So let's look at Yager.
Yager was 92, 93, I would say.
Yeah, and it was funny. I was watching something last night, 90. So, yeah, he played 6 years without Yager. And it was funny because when Yager was going through the draft, he actually fell in the draft because he was the guaranteed best player in the draft without a question, but he fell to 5th because he's from the Czech Republic, and he still had, I guess in the Czech Republic, I don't know if they still do it, but at the time, everybody had to serve in the military, at least the men did, and he still had military time left. And the first 4 teams that were picking in the draft either didn't know how they could get him out of it or didn't think they could get him out of the military service. But he fell to Pittsburgh, and they're like, yeah, I think we can get him out of his military service, and they ended up doing that. So that's how they got him. It was pretty interesting to find that out, which I didn't know.
And even on top of that, they almost never played on the same line.
Are you sure? I think they played on the same line.
Were separate lines for a while. So, if you put into perspective, Wayne Gretzky had Jari Kurri, who was a very prolific goal scorer.
Yep.
Mark Messier was backing him up at center, and Mark Messier is one of the greatest leaders to ever play the game. He had Paul Coffey on defense, who was one of the greatest offensive defensemen to ever play the game. And not to mention other third or fourth line guys who ended up becoming Hall of Famers. They were third or fourth line on this team, and they were Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Esa Tikkanen, just to name one of them. I mean, Craig McTavish. They had so many great players.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no way to find out, obviously, but I'd like to know what Gretzky would have done
if you reverse the roles.
Yeah, if you reverse the roles. I mean, points-wise, Gretzky is obviously the best. No question. But I don't know if he's the best player of all time in terms of skill.
I think Mario Lemieux outclasses it. Mario Lemieux's very first goal, he toasted Ray Bourque.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Not a big deal.
Your very first goal, you toasted one of the greatest defensemen to ever play the game. And even Ray Bourque was like, oh yeah, no, he got me. I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was watching Lemieux highlights and Gretzky highlights. They're very different players. I mean, I haven't been able to find a clip of Gretzky cutting through 2 defensemen on the rush right through the middle, and they try to, lay him out, and he fights through it. I've never seen him do that. I've seen Lemieux do that quite often.
One of the most famous clips in hockey history is Lemieux single-handedly skating through every single Minnesota North Star there is.
Yeah.
And then scoring.
Yeah, he'd walk the whole team.
He walked through the entire team.
But it's not how he does it. It's how it goes in. It doesn't matter if it's fancy or not.
We're just talking
if you
skill-wise.
need to measure skill of a player, it is how. You can... okay, let's take Zach Hyman, for example. He plays for the Leafs now. Typically, he plays for... he would play with Matthews and Marner or Matthews and Nylander. It just depends. And he put up... What was it? He put up like 30 goals last year or something like that. Let me look at his stats. Zach Hyman. And... Sorry, 20. Not 30. He put up 20 goals, 20 assists... Sorry, 21 goals last year. So, 41 points.
For a player like him, that is extremely good.
If you watch him play, he's not doing that on the third line or the fourth line. Because in terms of skill, that's where he should be. The only reason he plays on the top line is because of the chemistry. And if he didn't have that, he'd be a third or fourth line player. Now, he's not a high-skilled player. And if you watch him...
He's very linear. He's
very
a
linear.
Linear player.
He's a forechecking guy. He's just, going to the corners, get the puck, feed it to one of those two at the point. That's typically what he does. But he scores 21 goals because he's got Matthews and Marner feeding him the rock. And they just have a great vision.
And all he has to do, really, is just sit in front of the net. If he's in front of the net, he's bound to get a goal. I would honestly like to, go back and watch all his goals and see how many of them were, redirects or tap-ins.
A lot of them, honestly, were tap-ins. And it's funny because he should, honestly, shoot more because the goalie and the defenseman is like, all right, well, I got Marner or Matthews over here. He's obviously going to give one of those guys the rock. And then, maybe the goalie isn't as set in his feet in preparing for the Hyman shot. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not a great shot, but, it's still, a surprising one. It's a surprising one. It might catch him off guard. But, yeah, like I was trying to say, if you want to measure how a player is compared to another one, it is how. How many plays a factor. If you score one highlight goal, that's the only goal you've scored all year. Obviously, you're not a high-skilled player compared to somebody who put up 30.
Like, a great comparison would be like McDavid. Why do we call him the best player in the league? I mean, point-wise, yes, he's putting up a lot of points, but Nikita Kucherov had more than him.
Yeah, I mean, he's on par with a lot of those other guys in the league, but it's how he does it. And the guy he's got around him.
If you look at a lot of his goals, I mean, it's literally him in the neutral zone, defensemen in the defensive zone, and he beats them. He beats the defensemen who have like 10 or 15 strides on him.
Yep.
Gets around them and scores. It's the skill level. There's a skill gap.
Yeah, the vision that he's got. I mean, he'll have the puck in his own end, and he already knows how the play is going to develop. And he wouldn't take the route he's going if he didn't know. It's crazy. Or maybe he's just flying by the seat of his pants and he keeps, just...
That's actually how Pasternak does it. They interviewed him. They're like, so when you do these fancy moves, do you have them pre-planned? He's like, no. I look at defensemen and I go, I make move. And he makes a move. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
I make moves.
No, yeah, it's, when we start doing, a video version of the podcast, if we can figure out a way to get, my laptop screen on the video, I'd love to do, a Gretzky versus Lemieux thing, to see if we can try to figure out who's the higher skilled player.
See, now it would be easier, but the only thing is we need something you can drag it over onto a TV, and they can play on the TV.
Play from here.
No, I could play it on my laptop, and I think I would just need a screen recorder, which, I mean, my laptop has that. And then I'd have to figure out how to edit. First off, I need to figure out how to edit in general. But I would need to figure out how to edit the video onto the screen for, our camera and whatever. Be a lot of work, but it'd be fun.
I feel like I'm not trying to discredit Gretzky because I mean yes he was a skilled player. I'm not saying he wasn't. He wasn't the most skilled player.
He
put him in.
He did what he did because of his head. He's like a higher skilled Tom Brady. He just has the brain.
He made a lot of better plays, and it's why I say he's the greatest playmaker. I mean, he was literally 3 plays ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, I think he did the majority of what he did because of his brain, not because of his physical attributes. Because I remember his dad talking about him as a child, and Gretzky would be drawing up plays as a 5-year-old, and his dad's like, I can't even comprehend what this is. He couldn't understand the play.
From his dad too. His dad always told him, "Don't go where the puck is, go where it's going to be."
Right.
And that's the greatest advice you could ever tell somebody, especially with a great mind like his.
Yeah. I'm sure Gretzky already knew that, but his dad told him anyway.
Yeah. As soon as he comes out the womb, go where the puck is going to be, not where it is.
No, he came out of the womb with his CCMs on. He's taping his stick. All right, Pops, let's practice.
Keep her tight, keep her simple. But with Lemieux, he's a physical specimen. He was 6'4", 230 or 40 pounds or something like that, and the guy's skating around people.
6'4", 200. Wow, look at you. Guy knows his Lemieux. There it is.
He's huge. He's built like a power forward, but he played like McDavid. He plays with finesse.
Yeah, let's want to run through the first 6 years of Lemieux's stats before he had Yager on the ice with him. So his rookie year was 84-85. In 73 games, 43 goals, 57 assists, 100 points even. The next year in 79 games,
141 points. Not a big deal. Season after that, in 63 games, 107, so still on a ridiculous pace. The year after that, in 77 games, he had 168 points. And so that's the first 4 years. And then in 76 games, 199 points. Not a big deal.
And this is without any star power at all.
And then the last year before they had Yager, 59 games, 123 points.
So now, if you take Gretzky away from those players, are those players going to... Because you were saying he had top talent around him. Did Gretzky make them, or did they make themselves and Gretzky had them with him?
They all made each other. It was a well-oiled machine. But the whole argument is that would Jari Kurri be as good at scoring goals? Probably not, because Wayne Gretzky was very good at passing the puck. But
you got to remember, they won a cup without him.
He didn't win without them.
They won the first 4 cups with him and the 5th one without.
Wherever Mark Messier went, there was success. It was all about the leadership. Well,
it took Messier a long time to learn that leadership. He talked about his younger days, and he said he was, kind of an asshat back in the day. But as he got older and just had more experience, I feel like maybe Gretzky moving on kind of helped him because he had to take a step.
You don't really just come in as a natural-born leader. I mean, that's something you do learn. Some people are better leaders naturally.
Yeah, on Yager, when they were doing the scouting combine interview with him, they had a translator because, he's Czech.
English.
And they asked him, have you ever been a captain before? And he says no. And they ask him, well, why haven't you been a captain before? Because, you're a high-end player, and it's kind of a red flag. And he goes, I've always played with players 4 years older than me. Pittsburgh management's like, good answer. That's a good answer.
Fucking insert Family Feud. Good answer, good answer, good answer.
But it was something that just popped into my head. It was funny because when they drafted him, I can't remember who was the coach at the time, but the coach of the team starts running around to the media and he's just like, we just got the best player in the draft. We just got the best player. I don't know how it happened. We got the best player.
I mean, it's one of those things that comes to you. Like with McDavid, I think he has natural born leadership, but what makes a great leader is the things that they've accomplished and the things that they've gone through, the adversities they've overcome.
Yeah, and he hasn't even been in the league that long. He'll learn that.
McDavid, best player on his team in the OHL. They're going for
by far.
They're going for a Memorial Cup final. They're making a push for that. He gets into a fight and breaks his hand because he was sticking up for a teammate. The captain of your team.
Yeah, not really a good choice, but
the captain of your team, because I'm pretty sure a lot of the time the captain is either the oldest player on the team down there,
or the overagers,
or it's the best player.
Yeah.
So,
did you know they have a cap on overagers in junior? I learned that in the course packet. They have a max on imports from people outside North America, and that's 2. And I think
team?
Yeah, per team. And I think the overager limit's 3. I didn't know that. But the more you know. Brought to you by Disney Channel.
Anyways, he's the best player on the team.
You don't remember that?
I don't think it was a Disney.
No, it was a commercial, and they'd teach you something, and then they go, the more you know. Brought to you by Disney Channel.
No, I'm thinking of the one with the rainbow, with the star.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The more you know.
But yeah, being the best player in your team, you don't want to be that guy getting into a fight, but his leadership stepped out, and he was like, well, I got to stick up for my man.
Yeah, that wasn't a wise choice, and I feel like him looking back on that now probably wouldn't have done that. Just seeing how that fight, because didn't he miss a punch and he punched the glass or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
He's not a fighter, man.
He wasn't a fighter. You're fighting in the corner. You miss a punch. mean, you've seen how hockey fights go.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Not really accurate.
He's no Sean Thornton. Sean Thornton would have punched the glass and the glass would have broke.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure that's probably the first fight he ever was in.
and probably the only he'll ever be in.
Yeah, I mean...
It's same thing with Sidney Crosby. I mean, Sidney Crosby's not a fighter. But,
Yeah, but
he's been into fights when he feels he needs
Yeah,
to.
when it's time to step up, he will.
Or if PK just slams his head against the ice.
Yeah, and I think leadership is one of those things where if you don't have it right away, you can still learn it.
Yeah,
And-
100%. But if you naturally have it, you're just going to be a better leader.
Yeah, I mean, it goes with, like, toughness and the way... I really like the way that Kyle Dubas builds the Leafs because one of the, pitfalls that the media likes to point on the way he builds is he doesn't have a tough team. And his philosophy is toughness can be learned. And, he brought in Kyle Clifford, who was a tough guy, and he felt that he needed a teacher to be there to help those guys learn. And Kasperi Kapanen fought a few times this year.
But
Not
he's
a fighter.
somebody you thought
Yeah,
was
he's not a
well.
tough guy by any means. He's a skilled player.
Like, if anything, you'd look more like Zach Hyman to do
Yeah,
that.
and I mean, he probably would have, but he was hurt for some of the year.
Or Jake Muzzin, but do you really want your best defensive defenseman to leave the ice?
Yeah, but the toughness can definitely be taught, and the Leafs are learning that. And it's I don't know how we got into this. I think we were talking about Messier and
Yes,
him being a
captain.
leader. Yeah,
It'll go back, but it's more just talking about the leadership role,
Yeah.
if anything. So I mean, it's not like we strayed too far. Like Chara, for example, he leads by example on and off the ice. And
well, I think he leads because nobody's stick is longer than his, so he's constantly he's always first.
I mean, but even still, he's a very great captain. He's a very good leader. Patrice Bergeron, I don't listen to the locker room. I'm not there, but
Well,
for the most part, Bergeron isn't like on the vocal end of things. He goes out, does his job, and he leads by example. Those are natural born leaders.
Right.
Somebody like Messier, it took him a little bit, but once he learned that he needs to step up,
Yeah, once you got it, you're not going to lose it.
he did. He stepped up. He is one of the sole reasons why the Rangers even have a Stanley Cup anytime recently.
Yeah.
I mean, that team was a good team, don't get me wrong, but
It was his cup.
that was his cup.
I mean, he's got what, 6 now, right?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know if he was.
He didn't win any in Vancouver, because Vancouver's never won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that was
Yikes.
that was a tough part of his career. I saw his story on that.
Not a good one.
No, I think he left the Rangers because he was sick of the situation there. Went to Vancouver,
I realize it.
realized that
It
this
could
was
be
worse, and then went back. I mean, this was in the twilight of his career, so he wasn't really putting up Messier numbers anymore, but
Yeah.
still. Now, I think a 50-minute rambling conversation is enough time to get to the playoff predictions.
Yeah, yeah.
So
for sure.
I'll bring up the bracket, and Kid, I'm sure you probably got your predictions already. But
Are we going round by round or just the first round?
we'll just do the play-in for now, and
Okay.
then
Yeah, 'cause
as
that's what's coming up is the
Yeah.
play-in. So
So what we'll do is we'll go series by series, and I'll just start with Dylan, then we'll go to you, then we'll go to me.
Yikes.
start.
Are we just saying who
wins?
win-
Go east.
Yeah, I'll go west to east.
Are we saying who wins or are we saying how many games?
Well, just your prediction on the series. Who you
Okay.
think's going to win? If you think it's going to be a certain amount of games, then say it.
All right.
Best of 5, keep in mind.
Oh, it's only 5
The
games?
play-in is just a best of 5.
Yeah.
And the round robin will be like regular,
Yeah, what the hell's a round?
like regular season.
What's a round robin?
So you know how in the Olympics they have the Group A, Group B, Group D?
Yeah.
So they do a round robin where you play everybody in your group to determine seeding.
So it's what the Bruins are going to be doing. They're playing everybody in their group: Flyers, Capitals, and Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
they each play once to determine who's going to be the top seeded team.
Okay. Why don't they just... because they don't want to go off the record.
In those games, they're going to be like regular season games where they'll go to a 5-minute overtime, 3-on-3, and a shootout. Whereas the play-in will follow a playoff format.
Okay. So when does the round robin start?
August something.
So...
It's like the beginning of August, basically.
The play-in starts like August 1st.
So is that going on during the
Yes.
bubble? Okay.
August 1st is when the first play-in games will be played. The very next day is when the very first round robin game will be played.
I was trying to figure out what the round robin was because all I was seeing was round robin. I was like, all right.
It's going to be played at the same time that the play-ins are being played, but they have a time schedule. So games will start at like 12 in the morning, and the final game will be like 6:30.
Noon, not 12 in the morning.
Yeah, my bad. It's
12 in the morning.
Sorry, it's 12 in the morning for
12 p.m.
you.
12 p.m.
12 p.m. for us.
It'll be 12 p.m., and the final game, the start time will be like 6:30.
It's afternoon for us, morning for him.
Or
Hey,
like, they're
work
talking
nights.
like,
What do you want from
there's
me?
going to be like 6
I
games
used
a
to
day.
too.
No, you don't. So, there you go. All right, so we'll just get right into it. We'll start with Calgary and Winnipeg.
Dylan, the floor is yours.
I would think I would go Winnipeg there. I can't say games. I wouldn't.
No, I mean, you're a noted
And-
hockey man. I mean, what's the insight?
Did you just give your prediction and why you think?
Out of 5 games, I think it might just go to the 5 games, but I do think Winnipeg's gonna win the series there.
I actually think Calgary's going to win.
Mm.
I do also think it'll go 5 games, but what's Winnipeg have for defense? I mean,
True.
I mean,
if they play well and Connor Hellebuck is hot, then I could see him winning.
I'm just feeling that Winnipeg's goalie is gonna. He had his hot hand before COVID kicked in. So if he keeps his hot hand,
I just feel like Calgary, who aren't playing like a team that has a lot of good players, should. But I do think they have a deeper team, and ultimately that'll come through.
yeah. Well, let me quickly get a quick update on Johnny Gaudreau because he hasn't practiced at all so
Period?
far.
Huh.
Yeah.
have they? While you look that up, have they traveled yet to Toronto?
Yeah, they're doing traveling. Right now they're just doing practice.
No, I'm saying, did they already all the teams travel? Because I know like basketball already traveled to.
Yeah,
They're in the
so
process of still traveling. There's still
Okay.
people coming back from Europe.
Oh, so
Come
they're
back
waiting
here.
for everybody from Europe to come back in, and then okay.
yeah, Gaudreau hasn't practiced at all so far. I mean, I'm not going to read the whole article, but the Calgary Sun has a headline where it basically says his girlfriend is a nurse, and it's like provided some
Oh, okay.
insight for him, so he might not play. But I think hasn't the deadline
It
for
already passed.
Yeah, so he's playing.
So the only way he can not play is if he accepts the punishment, which is probably going to be like a fine.
I was
Okay.
gonna say what's up.
Yeah.
The only other way you can leave without punishment is for the birth of a child or a death in the family.
Or like you get COVID.
Yeah.
Well,
or
yeah.
you get- but other than that, it's death in a family or birth of a child.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Calgary doesn't really have any solid goaltending, and
They
Winnipeg
have
does.
timely goaltending.
Well, no, they have streaky goaltending.
That's what I mean by timely.
Yeah,
It shows up like
When it wants to.
I mean, they have Rittich, who just needs to take that step and become a devoted starter.
he just needs to get consistent.
Yeah. I'll take Winnipeg. Even though they don't have, like devoted NHL defensemen, they kept in the running by playing defense by committee. Now, I think that the play-in round is going to be reminiscent of October hockey, and if that's the case, you're playing against a Winnipeg that doesn't really have good goaltending. You got Blake Wheeler, Patrick Laine. I think they'll be all right.
Kyle Connor.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll get through
I
it.
think, like I said, I think it'll be a good series. I just think that the Flames are a deeper team, and I think that'll show.
Oh, no question they're a deeper team, but, I mean,
I think that'll come through for them.
Gaudreau hasn't even showed up to camp. You know what I mean? Like, he's young, he'll just bounce right back, but, like, it'd be nice to be in the camp, get your legs, get your lungs going again. So moving right along here, Edmonton, Chicago.
Edmonton. Sweet.
Honestly, I think this will be one of the better series. I do think Edmonton will take it in like 4.
I just say Chicago
Edmonton
is
3.
Yeah, I was
Get
gonna
outta
say
here.
I don't think Chicago is a shell of what they even are.
No, they don't have Corey Crawford.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wait, they don't have
I'll take
Crawford?
the sweep. If they had Crawford, I think they stand a chance.
That's
of
got to
winning
bite them in
game
the
or
ass
two.
because didn't they just trade away their backup goalie that could be a starter too?
They traded Lehner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's he's a starting goalie. Yeah. I
So
mean,
now
you know.
you lost basically 2 starting goalies.
So now they have every single
they're
goalie
not-
that they're bringing is fighting for the starting job.
They weren't going to be a playoff team though.
So why
they weren't
well obviously, but
they
why
weren't-
is Crawford not playing?
injury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think Edmonton has very good goaltenders in regard, but it's a lot better than what than Chicago has.
Yeah,
right
but you
now.
put in
And you have the best
what-
player in the world,
what's his name? The tall dude for Edmonton, the tall goalie. What the hell's
Nico
his name?
Koskinen.
Yeah, you just throw in the tall guy. They're both both of their goalies are like equally skilled. If it's going to be October hockey, just put in the tall
Koskinen's
guy.
6'7".
Yeah, just put in the tall guy. It'll be fine. Put in the tall guy. You have pretty good forward group now surrounding McDavid and Draisaitl. You'll be fine. You'll get through the play-in.
I mean, you can never count out Patrick Kane. I don't think.
Yeah, you can.
When you got nothing around you
But-
and no goaltending.
They do with Malcolm Subban being your starting goaltender, presumably.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
Throw up the clip when he was in Bruins net.
No, I mean it was
Did
funny
good for
because
Vegas, but as a backup.
Malcolm had all the skill, and if he was in Boston longer, I think he would have gotten it together and figured it out. It's just the fact that they moved him.
They didn't move him. He got claimed off waivers.
Yeah, well, he got claimed.
He got moved. They moved him,
So
just not willingly.
they wanted to keep him. I just don't think he was a fit.
Wasn't he
They just-
claimed off the Vegas thing?
Vegas claimed
Yeah.
him because every single goalie that touched their roster or was
Yeah.
even remotely close to their roster got hurt.
Yeah. And he's got a good teacher. Well, had a good teacher in Fleury. But
I just don't think
know.
he was a fit here. We didn't
No.
utilize him the way that he needed to be utilized. We didn't give him the proper, I guess, environment to
Tools.
learn.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Tuukka Rask isn't that good of a teacher because he's always focused on improving himself and getting his game up to the top, that he just wasn't focused on helping this young kid.
Yeah, but I mean, even on that, the kid wasn't coming up and playing backup. He was mainly starting in Providence.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I just don't think we handled his situation right.
Yeah. All right. So we'll keep moving along here. Vancouver and Minnesota. This one should be easy.
Vancouver. Sweep.
Wild sweep. No, I'm kidding. Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver, get out of here. I love Minnesota, but I mean, they're just here because that's how the
They're
playoff
called
format
like Minnesota.
is. So moving on to probably the most interesting one in the West, Nashville, Arizona.
Let me look at the
roster.
No, I'm trying to. I want to say Nashville in 5.
Yeah, you better say Nashville.
Well, no, I'm not just going because if Nashville can score and Rene actually shows up like Rene, then I'm gonna say Nashville.
Okay. I have 2 answers to this. If you want my unbiased opinion, I think Arizona might actually win. Due to goaltending. But you're not going to get that. You're going to get my biased opinion. Let's go Preds.
The other reason why I picked Nashville too is we don't know anything. If Kessel's 100% healed because he's been playing on his injury.
He's going to play.
Well, obviously he's going to play, but
he's gonna play.
He's not going to be 100%.
Yeah, but that hasn't stopped him from being a point per game in the playoffs.
Is Taylor going to show up?
Even still, if it becomes a battle of attrition, I think Arizona has better goaltending.
No, Nashville's got a really good chance of winning it, and so do the Yotes. I feel like overall Nashville's got a better built team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just have more depth. They got more skill up front.
More
that's been
playoff
producing.
experience.
Yeah, but
More playoff
what
experience.
has that done this season?
They have good defense. Rene isn't Rene anymore, but he's still good. It's up to Kemper.
Well, maybe with this break, he can.
It's up to how hard can Kemper carry.
Isn't Ranta back?
I mean, yeah, but Kemper's also been a stud. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter who you play. They're both going to be really good.
Exactly.
But
I just don't have that same faith in Rene and Saros. I think they're very streaky goaltenders.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to Arizona's goaltending, and it's up to Taylor Hall and Kessel whether or not they're going to show up and, put some pucks in the net. And if they do that, they have a good shot. But what I want to happen, we're going Yotes. We're going Yotes, baby.
I hate you.
Go Yotes, go.
I hate you.
Dude,
he has to go
He
against.
just wants to see the Kachina jersey. That's all it is.
it's a great jersey.
That's all it is.
If I can see that for 2 months, I'll be happy. Great jersey. I mean, honestly, it's funny because even if you look at it from for the good of the game perspective, either one of them winning will be fine because you want the game to grow. These are markets where Nashville's honestly they're doing just fine for growing the game.
Such a good fan base.
Yeah. So honestly, I would like Arizona to get into the playoffs just for the good of the game. There's not going to be fans in the stands. I mean, they're used to that anyways. So,
they are, dude.
They ain't the Panthers.
yeah, there you go.
It's like $12. It's like $12 for a behind the bench seat.
Yeah. All right. So, moving on to the East Coast, we will start with the Hurricanes and Rangers.
I'm gonna say Hurricanes. They got their number.
I actually don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure the Rangers won out the series.
Look it up. I swear Hurricanes have won
That or it was
all the majority of the games.
relatively close. They're I'm pretty sure the Rangers.
I swear it was Hurricanes I had.
I don't think so. See what this head-to-head is looking like.
All right. So that's all the playoff stuff. How?
Um,
No, I'm on it. I'm on it. Relax.
Mr. Google, do his job.
Well, I got one of the games, but all the
yeah, no.
the other 5 in Google are the playing around stuff. So I'm trying to.
Why don't you just look up the schedule and then?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say look up the schedule and pull up.
All right. So the first game, that's the Islanders, not the Rangers. All right. So the first game against the Rangers was a 4-2 win for the Rangers, 0.1. And then, kid might be right. Second game for them, 3-2 Rangers. Keep going here. Keep going.
I might have read it
Yeah,
backwards.
no, yeah, you're right, kid. 5-3.
All right, so
for
I
the
read it
third game.
backwards.
Exactly.
But I still feel like the Hurricanes.
I think the Hurricanes.
Yeah, okay, so the Rangers did a 4-0 sweep on the season.
I think the Hurricanes are a good team. They have goaltending. It's there. Is it amazing? No,
Hey,
but it's there.
hey. That's my Jim Reimer you're talking about, man.
Dude, it's
Jimothy
okay.
Reimer,
It's,
all right?
it's okay. Peter Mrazek is going to start over him, and you know it.
I don't think he is.
I think Reimer's
gonna
gonna get no.
I want Optimus Reimer there, man.
I'll put $1 on this.
It's
You're gonna put $1 on.
I'll put
Oh, all
$1
right.
on this.
Actually, what,
Money putting down.
I think they have a deeper defense.
well, did Mrazek get hurt this year or no?
Yeah, that's why Reimer played so much.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna look at games played, but that doesn't really matter then, because Reimer's probably just gonna have more.
But I honestly think the Rangers will take it. I think with how well Mika was coming into form, obviously COVID is a setback, but I mean he just clearly still he's gonna have that drive to be like, okay, I need to get back into form here. I think the team was playing very well for each other, and if Henrik Lundqvist starts, I'm pretty sure most of those games he he started against Carolina.
No, he was probably already out then.
But
He got shipped out to third goalie pretty quick in the season.
I thought it was like halfway through.
It was like 2 or 3 months.
I know he played against Carolina this season though, and in his career, he has really good numbers against Carolina.
No, in general, he has good numbers. It doesn't really matter. And granted, Carolina was also bad most of his career.
Well, yeah.
But I think they'll come through and win. I think it'll be a 5-game series.
I also think it'll go to 5. But
You're going to go with the Canes?
I'm going Canes. They're a deeper team. They got more. They just have more star power. I mean, outside of Panarin, who else you got?
Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah, he had a hot streak, and then what?
He
hasn't played for 4 months.
He's still a super good player.
Yeah, he's a good player,
but he just got iced up without playing.
He's not a star kid.
He has grown into a star.
No, he's not.
Yes, he has.
On any other team, he's not a first-line center. Any other team, he's not. He's not a star.
I think
he is exactly like Nazem Kadri before the Leafs got good. Any other team, he's not the first-line center.
Not any other team.
What team is he not playing first-line center?
You mean what team
clearly
he would be
Pitts,
playing?
he's clearly not playing first-line center on Pittsburgh, Washington. Or
Give me a
on
team
Edmonton.
where if he was on them instead of the Rangers, he's the first-line center.
Ottawa.
They're terrible. That doesn't matter.
I'm just saying it's still a team that he's first-line center.
Yeah, okay, Ottawa.
And
cool.
honestly,
he's already played there.
I think he could be a first-line center on Nashville.
You out of your mind?
What has Ryan Johansson done? He hasn't really been doing much. I think
Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene are far and away better than Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah, Matt Duchene would be starting way before.
Keep in mind,
he hasn't done anything for them.
keep in mind, Zibanejad hasn't gotten good until Panarin came around.
Zibanejad was actually doing good before he came around. And if he was first line, you have to also realize that Philip Forsberg is there. They're Swedish. They can they speak the same language. They could speak Swedish to each other. I think he's growing into a star. I think he's growing into a star. No, I'm saying logically they can speak the same language together. They'd have chemistry.
You are out of your mind, kid.
I think he's growing into a star.
He is 27. You don't grow into a star at 27.
Aren't you like near the end of your prime at?
No, he's
It's when you're just starting it.
no.
I thought
I
prime's like
disagree with
24.
that. The prime, honestly, nowadays, if you're a player where you break into the league and you're a star, your prime starts right away.
I was going to
And
say,
I
I thought
feel
your
like
prime's
your
like
prime-
24.
Yeah, the prime is shifting younger nowadays. It really is. And it's going to end right around, 28, 29. And
That's what I'm saying.
okay, let's walk through his career and the amount of goals he puts up, because that's, his quote unquote thing is scoring goals. His rookie year, played 9 games, didn't score at all. Fine.
So it's not really a rookie year.
Second year, played 42. It's a lockout year. 7 goals.
How many games do you consider a rookie
No,
year?
I'm
Well,
just
technically
saying,
he
I
is
was
right,
gonna
because
say
you have to
reality.
play 10 games to burn a year in your entry-level contract. So
I was going to say, in
Techni-
basketball, you just got to touch the court once and
Technically,
you're
he
not
is
a
right.
rookie anymore.
No,
But-
you do have to play a certain amount of games to be qualified as a Calder candidate.
All right, so his first rookie year, full season, 2012-13, 7 goals in 42 games. Not very good. 69 games, nice. The year afterwards,
That is very nice.
16 goals. And he also played time in the A in that season. Played 6 games, 2 goals in the A. Year after that, 80 games, 20 goals. 81, 21 goals. 56,
I love how he played one more game and scored
One more goal.
56 games, 14 goals. 72 games, 27, 82, 30. Playing with Zibanejad, 41 goals in 57 games. Or sorry, playing with Panarin.
No,
Suddenly he's a 40 goal scorer because Artemi Panarin's around.
that
He's not
really
a star.
helped him.
He's not a star. He's a good player, but he's not a star. A star player does that on his own, and he hasn't. He's just been a decent player. He's been Nazem Kadri.
I honestly thought he did better than that. So
No, he's just-
I'll retract my statement.
All right.
I thought he had better numbers than that prior.
0.1, again, for the man that shan't be wrong. There it is.
I think he's a very good player though.
He's good, but he's not a star. So,
Anyways, next.
did I said my thing on that?
Yeah, you said Canes.
Yeah, I had said Canes in 5. All right. Now this one is just to like, why are either of you here? Florida Islanders. Why are you here?
Islanders.
It's also the 2 seed. Oh wait, no, they play the 2 seed winner. Never mind. They
Yeah.
play the 2 seed winner.
I say Islanders.
Florida.
This one's a crapshoot. Like you could pick either
that's
one.
what I'm
and be
saying.
right. You could pick either one.
I just feel like Florida isn't going to be putting up much.
I think
in points.
It doesn't matter if Sergei Bobrovsky decides to just all of a sudden turn it on. That's it. That's
Yeah,
series.
yeah. If he shows up and they have Barkov, they have Ekblad, they have good players.
Okay, I really think Ekblad is so overrated.
He is.
I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be.
He is overrated, but he's still not an upper echelon top pairing D man, but he's still a top pairing D man in the NHL, and he's right-handed. So, all right, yeah, he's a good player.
I hate that people throw his name in when they throw the star power.
No, I know.
It's Barkov and Huberdeau.
Yeah, it's Barkov, Huberdeau. Used to be Throwcheck, and then they traded him all that was such a weird trade.
That was so out of the blue.
I know. Well, he's on the Canes now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have him too on the Canes. I mean, that far and away gives me the Carolina series. They're so underrated, so underrated.
They were underrated last year too.
They are. I think they're a spectacular team. It's very deep, and especially with they acquired Brady Shea from the Rangers. I think either way, it's a win-win for that series. I just think the Rangers going to win.
Yeah, and I don't know why we're going back to this, but we are. If the season didn't get halted like it is, and they made the playoffs, I mean that stadium would have been packed for the Hurricanes, packed. Because when they're in the playoffs, they show up, and the attendance was
Except when they play Boston.
The attendance was actually pretty good this year for them. They're making some strides.
We'll just see how many of them are like only there because they're successful, and how many are actually going to grow into Hurricane fans.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter right now. You're getting money in your pocket.
No, I understand. I'm just saying
that's how the owners
we'll
look at it.
see how many actually become fans and aren't just there because they're successful.
I'm trying to decide on a winner for this series. It's tough.
Flip a coin.
It is. It's a coin toss. It is. I mean, you get the way Barry Trotz has coached this Islanders team, which is basically defense by committee, and then Barzal just kind of does whatever. I mean, they won a decent amount of games doing that.
They have Semyon Varlamov.
Yeah, they have a good goalie. I mean, their goalie doesn't have to be spectacular the way they play. He just has to be pretty good. He's not going to face
too many quality shots.
Yeah.
But I just think if Bobrovsky turns it on...
Yeah, that's the
deciding factor.
Yeah, that's the wild card. If he shows up, I mean, there's no way Islanders can win.
So, I really don't have a definitive answer for that because my whole answer relies on Bobrovsky being Bobrovsky and winning the series for them.
Yeah. I'll take Islanders.
The last time they met, though, and this is funny, it was actually a playoff. It was in the first round or second round or something. I think it was first round. A few years back when Tavares was their first line center.
Yeah, they played. They played each other.
They played each other.
I remember that wrapper home goal that Tavares got. That was sick. In overtime?
He won it for them and helped them move on. But I'm just saying, the last time that they met, the Islanders won, so maybe the Panthers hold a little bit of bad blood.
Yeah, I mean...
motivation.
Playing the odds, because, the odds of Florida winning relies on Bob. I'll take Islanders. So moving along, I mean, this is kind of the same thing, just a little different in terms of the odds. Pittsburgh, Montreal. It's going to be, Pittsburgh, unless Carey Price shows up.
Logically, I think it's going to be
Pittsburgh. Sweep.
I'm going to go 5 games, Montreal. Because I so badly want the narrative of Boston and Montreal playing each other. I so badly want that narrative.
Well, that wouldn't even be for a while because
that'd be tough though.
No. If Boston wins the round robin, if they're number 1 seed, they play the lowest seed.
I thought we play whoever. No, I thought it's whoever.
No, it's
they're doing a reseeding. They're doing reseeding. That's how that works.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
It says that
Yeah, isn't it
It's
the
the
winner?
4-seed winner for the Montreal-Pittsburgh series.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So
Oh,
wouldn't...
it's 4th seed? So
Yeah, they're
if Boston
4th seed.
drops, then I want Boston to drop down to 4. I want Montreal to win. I want to see that.
Yeah, Columbus, Toronto's the first
Yeah,
seed.
that's-
Islanders, Florida second. Canes, Rangers third, and then Pittsburgh, Montreal
That's what I was
fourth.
gonna say.
I want to see Boston blow the round robin away. Just say, whatever, we don't want it. And then play Montreal. I want that narrative. I don't
Yep.
even care
If Montreal
Boston
even gets in there, if we blow it and we don't even get Montreal, we're playing Pittsburgh.
I don't care.
We're not beating Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you are.
No.
We've done it so many times before.
You agree with me, don't you?
On this
Look at
series,
the last playoff. Look at the last time we played them in the playoffs. They were actually arguably better than they are now. They had Chris Letang, who was younger and better. They have Malkin and Crosby, and they had Marc-Andre Fleury. We had Tim Thomas and David Krejci.
You're way back. How
and
long ago then?
I'm pretty sure we had Tim Thomas, and our starting center was David Krejci. And
No,
we beat them.
when we played and beat them, we had Jaeger.
Jaeger.
Yeah. Jaeger,
Playing
we
Rainbow
had
Six Siege a little too much.
No, like,
Bergeron was on there. We had
You had
Lucic.
Yager. Yager did absolutely nothing for the Bruins when we brought him in. Look at his stats. I think
I beg to differ on that one.
He did almost nothing. He was irrelevant.
Well, Hockey DB. What do you think, there, guy?
He was irrelevant. It was such a lackluster.
Why are there... Oh. There's two Jagers. Yaroslav and Yarmir.
Yaroslav Yager. That's a sick name, though. That's a sick name.
Yeah, in 11 regular season games, he had 9 points. And then in... That's a game playing thing, right? Yep, it is. In 22 playoff games, he had 10 assists.
10 assists in 22 games. He did nothing. That's irrelevant.
8 penalty minutes. There you go.
Oh! He stayed out of the box. Congratulations.
Dude, I always got a kick out of that old school mentality where penalties equal toughness. It's like, no, penalties equal you don't know how to be tough.
Unless it's a 5-minute major for fighting, it's not a tough penalty.
It's like, no, you messed up is what you did. You didn't do something good. You messed up.
I just don't think we'd beat Pittsburgh. No.
I
okay.
100% think so.
The Montreal Pittsburgh series? It's a crapshoot for me because I think Carey Price is going to show up because he's had a lot of time to rest.
Jeez.
But
He hasn't shown up for the last 2 seasons.
because he's always been hurt and he never got any time to rest. Now he has. Now, Pittsburgh is a crapshoot in goaltending because they had Tristan Jarry as the starter this year because Murray just wasn't playing as good and Jarry was on a hot streak. Now, if Jarry is Jarry still, and he's finally developed, okay, Pittsburgh's going to win it. But if he's suddenly bad or he just hasn't gotten it together and Murray's the starter, Murray hasn't been as good since they won the cup.
I think he's just such an inconsistent goalie. He's either top tier, doing really good,
Or he's letting in bad
he's
goals.
letting in everything.
See, I don't know. I think it's
Montreal-
going to be Pittsburgh, but just because, if it's October style hockey, I mean, Pittsburgh's going to wipe the floor with them. I mean, if they play that style, then yeah. But I think it'll go to 4 or 5. I think it'll be close. I don't know. It'll be a fun series to watch.
I want the narrative. I really do. I really want.
Yeah,
He's
I
not
watch
even
the
going
narrative.
off skill. He's just going off narrative.
Yeah, he's going off narratives.
I
Guys-
really want it.
Guy's too busy on his Cinderella story.
I'm just hoping that if I like really hold on to it and just
Offensively, who
Wish
does
it
Montreal
enough.
have other than Max Domi if he's really a scorer?
Jonathan Drouin,
Drouin.
Brendan Gallagher,
Drouin.
Sorry,
French.
let's go. Star talent compared to...
No, they don't have a Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin, but those are two rare cases. You don't just get those players. You
But they
to
have... Pittsburgh has that
extremely
talent.
suck. Yes, they have those
You're going to
guys.
outplay those talents?
You can. If you're Carey Price, you can 100% outplay that talent.
When Carey Price is Carey Price,
You say he doesn't have much time. You say Don't they have 6 months if they don't make playoffs to recuperate?
I don't. No, I think they have like a couple months and then they're back at it.
So he has the same amount as if he had to sit out already to an off season. You're going to tell me he's still going to be
time to really fully rest, because you only get a little bit of time before you have to go back to practice. He hasn't had to go to practice.
I don't think Price is going to be Price the way he used to be anymore.
I beg to differ.
No.
I think he's going to come in and be very good.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. I want him to show up for the
You want him to, but
for the
I'm
good.
he's not.
For the good of just watching hockey. I mean, I want him to.
I think he will. And if he shows up, Montreal has I think his name is Claude Julien. I think that's the head coach. And what's he specialize in again? Can you just refresh my memory?
Ooh. If I had to guess, I believe it would be defense.
Oh. So what counters offensive players that are really good? A good defense.
Yeah. And for the kids at home listening along, they have a really good defenseman in Shea Weber, who's also had time to rest.
And wait 1 second. Jeff Petrie too.
Yeah, he's not bad.
And I'm pretty sure like both of them are right-handed.
Right-handed D. There it is.
So.
Just saying.
So.
If it wasn't for COVID, Montreal wouldn't even be looking at a goddamn fucking playoffs right now.
Correct, but here we are.
Yep. No, here we are.
They're not good.
They're in this
They're
position.
not good.
Neither was...
You can't go on what ifs. This is what it is, so that's what we're going off.
This is hockey. Hockey playoffs, anybody has a chance.
Anybody. The Capitals finally got their cup when they weren't the first seed. I mean, just because you're the first team in the league, that doesn't mean you're the best.
Look at LA.
Yeah.
8th seed.
I wouldn't say
Cup.
I wasn't going to say the goddamn Bruins are going to win a championship anyways. If we went through the whole bracket, I would have said it was Bruins and Pittsburgh, and I would have said Pittsburgh beats us.
No, I mean, if I'm picking a team out of the East to win the cup, for the love of God, Tampa, please, figure it out.
Wait 1 second. Can Stamkos figure it out?
Yeah. I mean, now that he's hurt, it's like, well, okay, maybe not.
No. I did hear that it's only going to be for the play-in that he's hurt. So they said that he should be back in time.
So they just don't care what seed they get, is what they're basically saying.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right. Because, I mean, as, the Leafs are the first seed, as long as you dodge them, I mean, that's the toughest opponent out of the East in the first round that's playing in the play-in. So if you just dodge them by benching Stamkos, all right. Probably going round 2. As long as you play like Tampa in round 1. So yeah, let's get to the last series. Toronto and Colombo.
You know what? I want to hear yours first. I want to hear it.
All right. So.
Can we spell it out real fast? It starts with a T.
Hang on. Let's get into it. Here.
Can you move your...
No, I don't want to move my feet. All right.
Damn it.
I'm put my feet in.
I'm a tall person trying to...
I'm the host of this damn show, all right? I get feet room, all right?
Yeah.
All right.
His house has rules.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, okay.
So. Get out of here. All right. So, Toronto. I think Nick Robertson's making it out of camp. I think he's making this roster. And I don't think... Okay. He's not quite Mitch Marner in terms of high-end talent. They're completely different players and what they do, and what they bring to the table. But in terms of, if you're playing NHL 20 and you're playing franchise mode and you go to, trade value, they're equal in trade value. So I feel like with that extra added star power, and I feel like since this play-in and probably round 1 as well is going to be very October hockey style in terms of high scoring, not a lot of defense. This is what the Leafs want. They want less defense. They
specialize in October hockey.
They specialize and just
outscoring the
pushing, having the puck all game. And, that's the way they want to play. Since their back end isn't as good, if they have the puck all game, they never get exposed. That's the style they want to play. And I feel like if you have Mikheyev back, you have Nick Robertson hopefully making it out of camp. You have a healed up decor because going into the normal playoffs, that was the biggest question mark is the health of our defense because we had a lot of injuries. Now you have a healed up defense. You have Freddie who's had time to rest. No question. I get Torch is a great coach and he can really coach his Columbus team into playing tough, playing hard, and putting up wins. I mean, he coached them to beat Tampa, but the Leafs want it more than Tampa did at that time. I think Tampa now is going to be a little bit hungrier since they, got embarrassed, but Columbus doesn't have a shot. I don't think they do.
Because Bobrovsky isn't there, I think the chances are a lot less. I do think that Korpisalo and Merzlikins are just it's a very timely thing. I think Merzlikins showed up at just the right time.
Yeah, I mean,
so in goaltending in that regard,
they were riding a hot Elvis all year long. When for some reason, even though you just said the other kid's name, thank you. I knew it was a K, but for some reason I was thinking Cackle. Like, no, it's the Rangers guy. I mean, Korpisalo, even before he got hurt, he was only playing okay. And, they have that hot Elvis Merzlikins for a span of, 3 months? He was playing great or something like that. I mean, that's gone now. I don't think
this will really determine whether he's actually a really good goalie or if he was just a hot hand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question. I mean, that they don't have a shot.
My only question is because I think Toronto will, no matter what, force it to be a good series.
Yeah.
You physically can't count them out. They'll find a way to outscore you and win games.
Yeah, just because I believe Robertson's going to make it out of camp. I mean, yeah, Columbus is a great defensive team, and that's the way they play. But if you have him on the third line, Nick Robertson, there's too many waves of offense. There's too many.
We all know that
you can't weather the storm for 5 games.
Toronto has had trouble, namely against a team like I think they're called the Boston Bruins. Who knows? But the Boston Bruins play a tougher style. The Columbus does the same thing, and the Toronto's had some trouble.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah, Boston had that great defensive style, but they also had the star power to play the transition game after they forced them to make a mistake, and they're going to bury the puck because they have that star power on the transition game. Columbus doesn't have that. Your best player is Seth Jones, who's a defenseman,
and then Zach Werenski, who's also a defenseman.
Yeah, you don't have any high skill up front, and I believe Josh Anderson's still injured. He's a really good forward, but he's not playing.
I think he's good. I don't think he's what everybody talks him up to be.
No, he's playing Columbus' system, and that's why he looks good.
So I think he'd look good in a Boston jersey too. It'd be to the same effect. But I think Pierre-Luc Dubois is a good forward. He has potential to be a star player.
But that's one guy. The Leafs can defend one guy.
It sucks that he's on a bad team.
Yeah.
Cam Atkinson can score goals, but what else can he do?
And he's not scoring a lot either. He's scoring, but not a lot.
He's, in a regular season, a 20-30 guy, depending on who's passing him the puck.
Yeah.
So, I think in all aspects, Toronto does have the number.
Yeah.
And I personally think they're going to win. It's just more the what if they physically can't handle the suffocating style that Columbus is going to play.
Yeah, I think the reason I don't think Columbus has a shot is because Toronto's going to make a point to take the fight to Columbus. Don't let them play their counterattack game. Just take the fight to them. They can't weather the storm. They can't. Because if you have 3 lines of stars, how the hell are you going to figure that out? Mm-hmm. And then you have a 4th line that still can put the puck in the net.
Even still, having Jason Spezza, if he plays, on
He's
the 4th line.
He's playing.
That's a guy who's been around. He's played playoff hockey before. He knows what to do, and he's a vocal leader.
And he's got skill.
So what's your pick? Obviously, you're going Toronto.
Yeah, maybe Columbus will get a game, but I don't think they have a shot.
I say Toronto. What do you think?
Toronto. Personally, I think it'll go 4 or 5, though. Just barring how they respond. It's all in the mental toughness of the Leafs.
Yep.
Because I know that when they played Boston in the first round, Boston would just outgrind them and just work them hard enough to where Toronto had that kind of like self-doubt. And they just kind of, they peeled back.
Wouldn't you think, A, there's a new coach? B,
it's on the players. It's not really
they
the coach.
should be used to it by now. After dealing with it for 2 seasons?
Even still, I'm
Yeah,
just
but
saying.
see, again, though, here's the thing.
It's
the
all
reason,
on how they respond.
The reason Toronto kept getting scared by Boston is when that counterattack happens, you're looking at David Pastrnak, Patrice Bergeron, and Brad Marchand. And then you look at Columbus's top line, they're like, who the fuck are these clowns?
Yeah.
I mean, these guys aren't Boston's top line. This is easy. You know, that's why Toronto looked terrible, is because
Who they play.
yeah, it's because of who they were playing. I mean,
Even after that, we got a decent second line. I don't think Columbus really even has a second line that could.
no, they don't. I mean, and then you get to the third line versus third line. If Nick Robinson makes it out of camp, I mean, he's going to wipe the floor with them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you know what his numbers were, Dylan, but
I mean, it's hard.
let me just bring them up for you.
It's hard to go off numbers of people that play. Did he play in the O? Or
He
Oh,
was
the
on
A?
Peterborough.
okay. It's hard to go off junior numbers. I do personally think he's a really good player.
Now, okay.
But you can't
I don't think
judge,
you should be able to bring
you
juniors
can't
up in
judge
this.
the
but-
junior numbers on how he's going to perform in the NHL against grown men.
Yeah, but at the same time, he put up more goals than Marner did. It was kind of like swapped to where Marner was all assists and a few goals. Robertson is all goals and a few assists, but the same points per game as an overager. I mean, I remember watching Marner Jr. as an overager after the Leafs drafted him. Kid was amazing, and Robertson's putting up different style, but similar amount of numbers. And then his line mate, Sven Der Argentsev, I think that's how you say his name, is getting all these assists with him. And he's also a Leaf prospect. So let me run you through his stats. In 46 games, 55 goals, over a goal a game, 31 assists for 86 points. Over a goal a game in junior. Not bad.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's just all on how it translates to
And
playing
he
against grown
was,
men.
in his draft year, slightly over a point a game, 55 points in 54 games. But from, what Kyle Dubas has said about Nick Robertson, what Mike Oak, the GM for the Peterborough Petes, has said, he's the hardest working player. He has hundreds of texts with the nutritionist for the Leafs. The nutritionist, and he has hundreds of texts. The kid's in bed by 8.
Mommy tucking him in?
No, that's how serious he's taking this.
Jeez.
He's up early. He's training, working hard every single day during this shutdown because he wants it. He wants it really bad.
If he has that drive, then I do think that he'll be successful.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing that, the typical media might complain about him is he's 5'9". It's like, okay, he's the same height as Marchand. Marchand's doing just fine. I'm not that concerned.
And that's the same thing with, toughness. People like to judge toughness based off how tall and heavy the person is.
Yeah,
and then you
can't
look
do
at
that.
Marchand, and Marchand goes... I see Marchand go and stick up for Pastrnak.
Yeah.
Marchand...
What you doing?
Marchand's going up to people who are 5-6 inches taller than him, and he's the one defending Pastrnak.
Yeah. And, let's say the Leafs don't win the Cup this year. I mean, they can, but let's say they don't. If Robertson proves that he is a very good NHL player right now, then you can look at trading, Mitch Marner, opening up the cap space, and, using that to help your decor.
But I thought you were hoping they'd lose so you can go and get a...
But yeah, we have the Galaxy Brain. We have the Galaxy Brain scenario.
Yeah, no, see, the Galaxy Brain scenario's in place.
Yeah.
This is just if they decide they want to win,
If they want to go
It's a different option.
They already talked out the plan with Leo.
I talked to Kyle last night.
Leo handed him the pamphlet. He gave him
Here's the playbook.
He gave him a whole entire spiel on what he needs to do, and Kyle was like, okay,
Just send
I'll
them
talk
film?
to the guys. If
Yeah.
they want to win, then
I'll talk to the lads.
They'll win.
Do they see the film?
Oh, they saw the film.
Okay,
Of course they saw the film.
They've seen the film.
Me? Are you kidding me?
Come on.
Did he just ask if they saw the film, bro?
Never mind this guy. I tell you. Where'd we get him?
They're
Have they
professional
seen the-
athletes.
have they seen the
Of course they watched the film.
Jesus Christ. Now, to maybe like wrap this up, we'll keep our talks going as the playoffs start, but I don't need you to say who wins, but if you can, you want to. Who's your pick out of the West and who's your pick out of the East?
For the finals?
Yeah.
The Cup finals?
Yeah. Who's making it?
I think you know my answer for the East.
I already said the East. I said I feel like Pittsburgh.
Mm.
To go to the Cup? To go to the Cup?
The Bruins
Pittsburgh to go to the Cup. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, never count out Sidney Crosby. To be fair.
Boston?
And
No.
if you want to look at the teams that have the bye, I think doesn't Pittsburgh probably have Philly's number? Pittsburgh definitely has Washington's number. And Tampa Bay is not going to is looking like Stamkos is already
Well, we just
freaking
talked
injured.
about that.
Just say that he
I know,
could
I'm
be
saying.
back.
He'll be back. He's
Yeah,
just not
but let's
playing.
see.
He's honestly, now that we're thinking about that, I feel like they're just doing that to dodge. They're just trying to make a good matchup for themselves.
And if
they're
he's
trying
just
to dodge
getting
the
injured by
Leafs,
touching the ice for practice,
And-
imagine playing a game.
and they're really trying to dodge Columbus. They don't want to play Columbus again because clearly that didn't go good.
They're like, okay, so all you're saying is that we just don't have to be number one? We just don't have to try? We could just be half Tampa?
Yeah.
And then we can play whoever we want that isn't named Columbus or Toronto? Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good deal. I mean, who's your pick out of the East?
Boston.
Yeah, you're a fucking moron. See,
What do you got?
I feel like this shutdown is going to not really punish, but make it really hard on the older teams because the older you are, the harder it is to get back into it. I mean, I look at Roberto Luongo in the later days of his career. It took him 3 hours to warm up on a game day.
Oh, Jesus.
Because he's old and he was hurt
yeah,
and
yeah.
he had a lot of mileage. He put in that work to get ready for a game. And Boston's one of the oldest teams in this playoff round.
My counter to that,
playoff year.
My counter to that is Boston at the start of every single season for the past few seasons has been the best team. They've had one of the best starts every single time.
Yeah, they had the best team, but they also kept consistently coming off of deep playoffs. Making it a few rounds deep at least. So it's a shorter off season. This is a longer off season than what they had this past year playing St. Louis. It's a longer off season. Sorry, there's more time off, and they're a year older, a year more beat up.
They come in, they come in and they start October hockey very well. And if we're gonna go play this as if it's October hockey, I think they go in pretty well, especially with the fact that they have round robin games. They have an exhibition game that they're going to play, and everybody's all rested. I think Boston will.
Yeah, I mean,
will be good.
Pasternak will be fine. McAvoy will be fine. I'm not worried about those guys.
Andre Kasha will be able to come back and.
Okay,
I think
Andre
he'll be
Kasha,
fine.
who?
No, I'm just saying that's a big impact for the Bruins because now they have a second line winger.
Yeah.
Who do you want on the second line? Dan Heinen when he was on the team? Or you want to put Nick Ritchie up there? Please, go ahead. Throw Nick Ritchie on the second line.
No, I feel like it'll be really tough for those older guys to get their legs back. Especially, you have a Boston defenseman opting out. I don't know if he was going to be in the top 6 anyways, but he was still opting out.
Steven Camper was like a 7th defenseman, if that.
And, Chara was still a pretty, substantial minute eater on this team.
I will give you the Chara one. I think it'll be a lot harder for him to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he won't have his legs for a while.
I think Krejci will be all right.
Krejci already didn't have his legs. You think he's going to get him back all of a sudden?
I think Krejci also plays a different style. He doesn't play like a fast
he plays, he doesn't have legs, so he doesn't use legs.
He does the Sidney Crosby thing where he tries to slow the game down and
just way worse.
Make a pass. Yeah, just he's not Sidney Crosby.
So
I think Bergeron will actually come in fine.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be. I mean, he's not.
He doesn't need to do anything. What's he have to do? He just has to make sure he wins a face-off and gets it to Marchand and Pasternak.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a game facilitator. He plays a pretty slow 200-foot game, but come playoff time and come October hockey time, you need to have legs. And if he doesn't have his legs under him, then he's going to get burnt.
He's one of the main reasons why we have good starts. He doesn't need to have the legs. All he needs to do is get it to the people with the legs. And thankfully, he has two people on his line that have legs.
Yeah, but all you got to do if you're the opposing defense, okay, cover the guys that have legs. Take it up, please. Challenge me. Go ahead.
And then McAvoy takes it up.
Okay, but you're covering the guys with the legs. So you're covering McAvoy, you're covering Pasternak, you're covering Marchand. Bergeron, please. Or Chara, please. Take the puck up, guys.
Okay,
please.
for
Go
the
ahead.
love of God, even if Chara had legs, I don't want him taking the puck up.
No, but see, if... I look back
Bergeron
to...
will still be able to take it up.
I look back to the first Boston-Toronto series. And one of the things that Boston did is they targeted Roman Polak when he was on the ice. They covered everybody else, and they forced him to make a play. And he fucked up because he's Roman Polak. He's not a high-skilled guy in terms of puck movement. That's never what he's been. You force the worst players on the ice to have the puck. And if whoever they play can do that, Boston could be in some serious trouble.
Now, what's your team for the West? Since we already knew it was going to be the Bruins for the East.
I mean, I didn't even take my pick out of the East. I don't even know.
Oh, you don't even know?
I mean, my heart just says, go Leafs. Eventually they'll be right. But
That's what I do with Boston.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tampa's finally going to get it together. It's only a matter of time. It's the Washington thing. You just keep making it to the playoffs. Eventually you'll break through. I feel like Tampa's going to get there.
It's like with the Boston ideology. If I just keep saying Boston, eventually they'll win. And I will be right.
All right, so what do you got for the West? I have to look at the teams of the West for the bye.
All right, so just run through your picks again. You picked Vancouver, you picked Nashville, right? And you picked Edmonton, and you picked Winnipeg?
Jets, yeah.
Yeah.
I picked the same thing basically as you.
So
we
you
had
got
all the...
Yeah, you got them, and then you got St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas.
I know
Dallas.
you guys aren't going to...
Forgot Dallas somehow
agree
got
with
the
me?
bye.
Yeah, I forgot that too. You're not going to agree with me? I'm going to go with two teams who don't even get the bye. I feel since they're young and they can do this, I want to go Edmonton.
Yeah, see,
You know what my pick is? If you guys want to guess who I'm picking,
Nashville.
go ahead. No,
St. Louis?
Colorado.
Oh, okay, so we're on the same page. Gotcha.
Oh, you're going Colorado?
I'm going Colorado.
I think they have one of the deepest teams in the league right now. I think their goaltending is pretty good. Grubauer's a capable goalie, and Francouz's been a pretty good backup.
Go Fs, go.
Is that how you pronounce it? Francouz?
Francouz, something like that.
Francouz?
I don't know.
Okay.
Close enough.
It's something. I'm just going to call him Frankie.
All right, Frankie, where are we?
And you have the second best player in the world.
No, I mean, their roster is absolutely stacked.
It's yoked, bro. It's yoked.
Yeah, they have great depth up front. They have great depth on the back end, and their back end moves the puck phenomenally.
Sam Girard, who
But
they got in the
why the hell are
Nashville
you
trade-
naming him first?
No, I'm saying Sam Girard, who they got in the Nashville trade, is a very capable puck-moving defenseman. Left-handed.
Okay.
And then you have a right-handed rookie phenom. What's his name? Cale Makar.
Yeah, you have Cale Makar. I mean, Tyson Barrie was expendable. Like, really?
You have Bowen Byram coming up.
Yeah, you have great defense.
Eric Johnson can move the puck for being a defensive defenseman.
You have a fantastic top line. You have Nazem Kadri, so you have two centers. It's really what you need to win the cup. You need to have two centers.
You just got to make sure Nazem Kadri doesn't play Boston. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, just dodge ball. Well, we'll see. In the finals, though, you could probably get away with murder. Like, there wasn't a ton of murder last year's finals. It was actually fairly, it was a couple of things, but it was fairly clean. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I feel like Colorado's definitely going to be. See, here's the thing, though, because you could easily just say McDavid and company is going to win, too. And that's an extremely fair pick. Especially since they have more wingers now, so it won't just be McDavid having the puck.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said
because his goal scoring ability.
I want to say
underrated.
I want to say Edmonton all the way, but I know that won't be true whatsoever. But
I want to see it. Don't get me wrong. I want to see McDavid win. He's one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Like, putting the bias aside and not counting any Boston players, he is my favorite player.
Yeah.
And then it's McKinnon.
Yeah, Colorado's just
I just feel like
better built team overall.
McKinnon has more. McKinnon has Landeskog, who he's skilled. I don't think he's what everybody makes him out to be, though.
Yeah, I mean,
and he has Mikko Rantanen on his line.
Yeah, let's we'll look through Edmonton's most likely matchup. So they're playing Chicago. We think they're going to win. Now, they're playing the 4th seed. 4th seed most likely is going to be Dallas.
Yeah. Or Vegas.
No. Vegas is way better than Dallas.
Yeah.
And
I feel like Edmonton can beat
all
Dallas.
you have to do is just make sure you score 3 goals.
yeah, and see, here's the thing, though. It's a great dynamic for the round robin for the West because the 4th seed is going to be McDavid. Nobody wants to play McDavid, so these round robin guys are all going to try.
Yeah.
So Dallas is the worst team in my eyes. They're probably going to play Dallas, and Dallas isn't known for being good defensively. And Ben Bishop, though he's tall, hasn't been that. He's been good, but
there's so many flaws to his game.
Yeah.
That
shoot high.
Literally,
just shoot high.
Because he's so successful. Because I feel like the defense around him is good enough to just keep him from having to face too dangerous of shots.
Well, I mean, give him some credit. He's good on his edges, and he's just a big guy. So if you're good on your edges, you're going to get back to those. Like we've seen him make great saves.
No,
he's got good edge work, and he uses his size
that he's
well.
a good goalie. I just think there's a lot of flaws to people. Name him as an elite goalie. When they say top goalies in the league, people say Ben Bishop.
No,
and that's what frustrates me.
Yeah,
there's so many flaws to his game. If you look at any of the top goalies, like Carey Price, the only flaw to his game is the fact that he's hurt.
You know what I get a kick out of, though? The fact that he's bugged by Ben Bishop being called elite, but he thinks Mika Zibanejad's a star.
He is.
Ain't that funny?
And no, I retracted that statement.
Yeah, but he still said it.
I retracted it.
It's still
recorded. All right, so let's
Okay.
keep going, though. So they're going to play Dallas, and I think...
I don't even think Dallas should have even really had a bye in the first place, so I think they'd beat...
They earned it.
They earned it.
Yeah.
They earned it. But, I think we're all in agreement that Edmonton can beat Dallas.
Literally, all you have to do is score a goal a period.
Yeah.
Because Dallas has trouble scoring. It's not trying to be mean. It's not me being critical.
Yeah, so...
It's just a fact.
I mean, who do we think is going to be the 1 seed? Probably Colorado, right?
Colorado or the Blues?
Yeah, one of those. I mean, it's tight, but I think Colorado's going to get it. So they're playing the 1 seed, and then St. Louis is probably going to get 2nd, and then Vegas is probably going to get 3rd. I feel like Vegas can win their first round matchup. I feel like St. Louis can also win their first round matchup, and Colorado's definitely going to win theirs. I mean, so let's see. Next up, actually,
wouldn't it be Vegas versus Edmonton?
No, the second round would be all the rounds. Are they all getting reseeded every time? No, so that takes more.
Yeah,
I'd have to look into that more. But
wouldn't that be? That means it would
I'm
be.
pretty sure they said they were doing a full.
It'd be
reseed,
Edmonton
no
versus Colorado.
Yeah,
if it was like that,
Who was the lowest seed?
it would have been the way he just said it.
Okay, the lowest seed is Chicago. They're 12th, but Edmonton would be 8th.
Okay, so turn this a little bit.
Look careful because that wire kind of gets.
So basically,
just looking at that real quick.
Going off of let's say my picks, I had Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Nashville. Is Edmonton the lowest of all those?
What did you say? Repeat that.
Calgary, all the top teams: Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Nashville.
Edmonton would be.
Is Edmonton the lowest seed there?
Yeah, Edmonton's the lowest.
Okay.
So
Edmonton
Or is that a
would be
5? Is that a 5? It might be higher actually.
I can't tell.
Yeah, hang on. Let's hang on. Yeah.
That's a 5.
Well, it's because I'm zoomed in.
5. Nashville will be the lowest. No.
Actually, that doesn't help at all. Hang on. Let's go back to Google.
Professor Google.
Vancouver.
Yeah, so Edmonton's 5th.
Vancouver 7th.
Okay, so with them being 5th, I had the 8th the 7th, the 6th, and the 5th winning. I had all the higher seeds.
Yeah, so actually Edmonton's got some good matchups because they, assuming Colorado gets first, they're going to dodge them again after the reseed.
So they'd play the 4th seed.
So Edmonton might just be getting...
They might just get good matchups.
Yeah. The only way you could look at that is if you put everything into perspective. So 4th seed, I think we can all agree, is Dallas. I think they beat Dallas. Then it goes Vegas would play 3rd, so they'd play Nashville.
Yep.
I think Vegas wins that.
Yep.
St. Louis would play 2nd seed, right? So
Yep.
they played Vancouver. I think Vancouver could actually come out with that if Markstrom plays well.
If Markstrom plays well, yeah. But then you have Binnington too, so that'll be a tight one.
For the sake of like the reseed, we'll just say that St. Louis wins.
Okay.
And Colorado would play
Calgary or Winnipeg. Doesn't really matter. They're gonna win.
Either way, they win. So then it would be the number 1 seed would versus the absolute lowest seed in that whole thing, and that would be Edmonton if all those teams were to play.
What do you mean?
That's what I was saying. So Colorado would be...
They'd be the first seed. This would be the first round, whoever they play here. The
right.
second round, Edmonton would be the lowest seed because all these other teams...
So Colorado would be playing Edmonton.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Not Calgary. Colorado would play the lowest possible seed.
Which would
be... Yep. That'd be a good series.
That would be a good series.
See, that's a tough matchup, though.
Now, I'm pretty sure that's how they're doing it.
I don't think that's how... I think what I heard was...
hear that they're doing
the reseeding, but then they would go off of the regular hockey schedule, playoff schedule.
I don't know. I can't remember. I mean, I don't really bother looking it up. I don't really care right now. Because we got like 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Because we're almost at 2 hours here. So.
Yeah, no, I heard it was reseeding, and it was going to be throughout the whole thing. Then. So, I agree. That would be a very good matchup.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can just keep speculating, or we can just wrap it up and get to next week.
I say keep it tight, keep it simple.
So, we're going to wrap it up for this week. And, see you next week.